Today I'm reacting to your Clash in Paris 2025 Hot Takes. Hot Takes is a weekly video series where I give you all a platform to be able to voice your thoughts, whether those are good thoughts, bad thoughts, or everything in between about the world of professional wrestling. So if you'd like to be featured in the next episode of Hot Takes, make sure that you're following me over on X because I ask for your hot takes there after every episode of Raw, SmackDown, and every single WWE Premium Live event. The next one is on ESPN, WrestlePalooza, and it's only in 3 weeks. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And don't forget, we did upload our nearly 1 hour with footage review of Clash in Paris, which is up and available right now over on patreon.com/SantiZab. So go check it out. The link is in the description or there's a link in the pinned comment. All right, that's enough. Let's see what you guys sent in. Is it actually going to happen? Is she coming out of retirement to tag team with her husband? I don't know how much longer we can be delusional about this, but now we have an actual reason for her to return. If she does return, it's gonna be the pop of the century. Listen, it absolutely makes sense from a storyline perspective for AJ Lee to return now. It's right there. It's perfect. However, I'm actually gonna step this up another notch. I'm gonna take this a little bit further and not only say that it makes sense for her to return, I'm gonna say that the current storyline demands for AJ Lee to return. When you really analyze the addition of Becky Lynch into the Vision, it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense aside from Seth Rollins' family hates CM Punk that much because their ideologies in terms of Becky Lynch wanting to keep the future down and Seth Rollins trying to elevate the future actually don't really coexist. The only reason it makes sense is because, well, that was her hot husband. But now that Becky Lynch has been added to this, now that Becky Lynch attacks CM Punk, the line from Seth Rollins of "I hate your family," the only way where this makes sense is for AJ Lee to return. If she doesn't return, then I really don't understand the path moving forward for this storyline. That's why I'm going back and saying that the storyline demands the return of AJ Lee. Roman got the win, but the Vision won the war. Great way to keep the stable looking strong, and now we're getting what everyone's been waiting for. Spear versus Spear, Roman versus Braun. Yeah, they basically did the exact same formula for the Vision that they did at SummerSlam, which is the Vision loses at the beginning of the night, and then they end up winning the big thing and doing the big swerve at the end of the night so that the loss at the beginning of the night doesn't really impact the overall stock of the Vision. I will say I would have liked for Bronson Reed to win that match. I think it would have been far more valuable, not just to the Vision, but for Bronson Reed himself to be able to say that he took out Roman Reigns. He did take out Roman Reigns, but he lost to Roman Reigns and he lost the Shula Fala. So the whole tribal thief gimmick is also dead now. But yeah, I think that this is going to be a formula that WWE follows with the Vision probably right through to WrestleMania. I was gonna say up until War Games, but the Vision has enough steam power, enough manpower, if you want to use that, to go all the way through to and past WrestleMania. And if you want them to have that steam, they need to be winning. And I would like for them to be winning across the board, like Bronson Reed winning as well. But at the very least, them winning the big thing and being the talking point at the end of the night does count as winning the war. So I'm with you there. I feel like the Roman beatdown was a little too overbooked. That time could have been used for Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles or a Stephanie Vaquer match. Oh, I 100% agree. You have to go back and truly time out how long that post-match segment was. It was 16 minutes. It was longer than 2 of the matches on the card, if you can believe that. I'm not saying that it didn't need that post-match segment, but it was a little bit bloated. I feel like we could have done all of that stuff in 5, 6, 7 minutes, and we probably could have had enough room for a 10 to 13 minute match for the Intercontinental Championship or the Women's World title, and it would have made the show feel a lot more full. Like seriously, like from bell to the end of the full segment there that happened in the post-match, the Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed stuff took over the full first hour of the entirety of the Premium Live event. There's no need for that. Like there's no need for the opener to go that long, in my opinion. I know what they were trying to do. They were really trying to put the exclamation mark on Bronson Reed taking out Roman Reigns, but when I look at the overall quality of the show, I feel like it would have been made better with an extra match, whether it be Dom and AJ or a Stephanie Vaquer match, as opposed to an overly hourly long bloated post-match segment. So you know what? I agree with this sentiment here. I'm with you. Makes sense now why this match was on the card and not Styles and Dom. Yep, at the end of the day, dollars will always speak more than fan sentiment online. We saw it at WrestleMania where they decided to put the bum-ass World Tag Team titles from Monday Night Raw in that terrible match between the New Day and the War Raiders to sponsor Clash of Clans or whatever the hell it was over what was the deserving division, the SmackDown Tag Team division, and their awesome TLC match getting left off of WrestleMania. Sponsorship dollars will always win. I did, by the way, in case you're curious, I did learn that WWE superstars that are picked specifically for these segments, they get a nice pay bump. So the Street Profits to get to come out looking like the characters from Borderlands got to make a nice little extra bag for that. So congratulations to the Street Profits for lining their pockets. I'm happy about that. I guess it goes with their name, right? The Profits. Fellas, I love going to wrestling shows, and if you've ever been in a packed arena full of other wrestling fans, you'll know that a lot of them, how do I put this kindly, don't smell very good. And I've always been really careful to take care of my personal hygiene when I go to wrestling shows to make sure that I don't join the statistic of stinky wrestling fans. And now it's much easier to do so thanks to today's sponsor, Mando. Mando works so well because it doesn't cover up odor after the fact with heavy fragrances like certain other deodorants do. Instead, it stops the odor at the source by blocking the bacteria on your skin from eating your sweat, which is the actual cause of BO. What does this mean? It means that Mando is clinically proven to control odor for up to 72 hours. Mando deodorant was my go-to deodorant for a SummerSlam weekend, a weekend that I spent walking all over Cleveland, meeting viewers and jumping and screaming for hours in a packed stadium with over 50,000 people. And I may have walked out of SummerSlam incredibly tired. I may have walked out sick with the flu, but damn it, I smelled amazing from beginning to end and beyond. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick of deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of your choice, like the mini body wash or the deodorant wipes. You also get free shipping. Luckily, I have a discount code to help you get hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. As a special offer to our listeners, new customers are going to get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code, so make sure that you use code Santi over at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. That is code Santi at shopmando.com. Thank you very much to Mando for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back into it. It's about time they have Becky and Seth on screen together. Hopefully we get AJ and it will be pure cinema. People are forgetting that this isn't the first time that they've done Becky and Seth Rollins in a faction or in a group together. They did do a little tag team run there in 2019 when they hit that, they had their whole little beef and feud with Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans, but it was Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans. Now we're talking about CM frickin' Punk and AJ motherfucking Lee. That's a mixed tag match that could headline pretty much the majority of premium live events that WWE has. So we are in completely separate conversations here. I don't even think that the two are comparable. It is cool to have them on screen together, both as top heels in their respective divisions. But again, I have to question, like from a storyline perspective, it doesn't make too much sense with Becky Lynch's motivations technically being the complete polar opposite of Seth Rollins. But who the hell cares? They're going to be fun together. Husband and wife, hot husband, hot wife. What's not to like? John Cena versus Logan Paul was a classic, an absolute clinic. Will this finally end any doubt to Paul's talent? I don't think that there's ever any realistic doubt about Paul's talent. I think that anybody that says that Logan Paul doesn't have talent in the ring or on the mic are just lying to themselves simply because they don't like Logan Paul. And if you don't like Logan Paul, just come out and say it. You don't like Logan Paul and you don't want to root for Logan Paul because you don't like Logan Paul. I feel like that's totally fair, whatever. But the notion that Logan Paul can't wrestle, that Logan Paul is a bad WWE superstar, that Logan Paul can't cut a promo, like it's just a fundamental lie. All you have to do is open your eyes, open your ears, and see the guy work because he's very good at this. So will this end any doubt of Paul's talent with the people that already don't want to give Logan Paul any credit? No, this won't fix or change anything. We're at the point where Logan Paul can end like world hunger and people will just say that he's doing it for the views. So it doesn't matter. I've always thought that Logan Paul fits right at home with what the WWE WWE is all about. I've never had any doubt about Logan Paul's talent, so it doesn't really change anything for me. What I saw was a guy go out there and have an excellent match, my favorite match of the night with John Cena. And I didn't come out the least bit shocked. It was between that and the Rusev and Sheamus match, what I thought was going to be the match of the night. And hell, both of those were the two best matches of the night. But I agree. I think this was a fun little classic. I love all of the callbacks and all of the homages to all of the different points of like John Cena's career. It kind of felt like they were having a WWE 2K style match with two superstars with movesets that you just edited to give John Cena the end of days, to give Logan Paul the zigzag and all of this kind of stuff. This was a really fun match, this is not going to end any doubt when it comes to Logan Paul. I'm glad it was a female fourth member. I think that it caught a lot of people off guard, but I'm not sure that Becky is the right fit. The vision was supposedly about Seth Rollins cultivating the future of the company, and I don't know if Becky really fits that mold. We've already talked about that last portion. She doesn't fit the mold. Maybe they'll try and make it fit the mold, or maybe she isn't actually a member of the vision, which actually would make the most sense here, that she is just there to get us this feud between CM Punk and AJ Lee and Hot Husband and Hot Wife. Because you're right, ideologies don't really make any sense. So for Becky Lynch to all of a sudden be worried about like the future and the vision of the company just doesn't fit with the whole Becky Hogan that she was trying to emulate on screen. But I did start to think about the fact of it potentially being a female member being added to the vision, and it was because somebody suggested Lash Legend in the stream. I didn't think it would be Lash Legend, but it did kind of get my gears moving about a potential female being added to the vision, because we've all been thinking about men, Ethan Page, Austin Theory, Tony D'Angelo, you know the common names. But when I think back about like one of the last times that a big new faction member was revealed, it was a woman. It was Rhea Ripley being added to the Judgment Day. And back then we were all thinking the likes of like Tommaso Ciampa and other notable names, but we weren't thinking female. And that was ultimately an awesome decision. I think this is different. I don't think that this is a proper addition to the vision. I'm actually leaning more towards this just being for a program that will involve all four of these big names, including AJ Lee. This match exceeded my expectations. The usage of different moves from other wrestlers, near falls, and the crowd was into it from the start. This is up there with match of the year for me, and the Paris crowd was one of the best of the year. Yeah, the Paris crowd is definitely the best crowd of the year. I don't think that anybody is going to top that crowd. I don't know that it's quite as good as the Lyon crowd, mostly because WWE didn't give them AJ Styles. Had they given them an AJ Styles match, we might be talking about the Paris crowd being better than the Lyon crowd. But they did give us a little a sneak peek of what it's going to look like on Monday Night Raw, with John Cena hitting that Styles clash, man, and just making that crowd go crazy, singing the Phenomenal chant. It was wonderful fan service. Like, look, I think this match was good on its own right. I really think it was a really, really solid match. But they really took advantage of a hot crowd and steered that crowd into a freaking volcano by making them a blazing hot instead of just a regular hot crowd, by feeding them fan service with moves from Baron Corbin, with moves from Cesaro, with moves from Dolph Ziggler, with moves from AJ Styles. I really, really like what they decided to do in this match. It really worked for me, and it clearly worked for that crowd in Paris as well. Now that PLEs are moving to ESPN, I hope that WWE will be locked in and give us high quality PLEs every month with stacked match cards, awesome storylines, and unique stages. I hope so too. I hope stages make a comeback. I think we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I am wondering if perhaps Clash in Paris was a sneak peek, a preview of what WWE Premium Live events will look like over on ESPN. Mostly because this show went like really long. It went nearly 4 hours. It was longer than one of the nights of WrestleMania. This was the longest single night PLE of the year by far. And I'm wondering if maybe that's going to be the model moving forward, rather than just doing 4 to 5 matches because people are paying more money. Maybe we'll have expanded cards, bigger names, like you said, bigger stages, more pyro, just a bigger, more grandiose experience on ESPN. Now that's to me being very optimistic. I'm choosing to be optimistic here, mostly because the send-off here on Peacock, with it being 4 hours, did feel out of place from what we're used to, and maybe it was a trial run for what we should become accustomed to. Although I didn't agree with the winner, I think this match tonight displayed to the world that Bronson Reed can hang with the top tier main eventers. Plus, I think the post-match angle with Braun and Braun massacring Roman helped redeem the loss for Bronson and the Vision. Yeah, that was definitely the intention, to redeem the loss, to help them get their heat back, but Bronson lost a particular type of heat that he can't win back by simply just destroying Roman Reigns, which was personality that he gained from the whole tribal thief stealing the shoe stuff. We'll see how he bounces back from that, because no one ever really questioned, oh my God, is he a scary badass or not? They really focused on the scary badassness of Bronson Reed in this match, in the post-match segment. I think people were always concerned about maybe a lack of personality within a group that already has large personalities like Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. So we'll see how he bounces back from losing the one thing that made him stand out from a personality standpoint. But I've never been concerned about Bronson Reed's ability to hang with main eventers. I don't think that they showed me his ability to hang with main eventers. I think I learned that last year when he worked with Seth frickin' Rollins in what was a really great program, and then moving into the last Monster Standing stuff, and then the Survivor Series War Game stuff. Bronson Reed to me is a main event guy. I didn't need him be looking strong against Roman Reigns to really make me believe that he can hang with the main eventers. I've always believed that. To me, it was about preserving the personality aspect of his character, and I don't think that we did that here. John Cena should extend his tour by 5 months until WrestleMania for the months that he was healed. Dude deserves a WrestleMania Endgame. Oh yeah, I mean, the WrestleMania Endgame is definitely ideal. I don't think that's going to happen. John Cena seems to be pretty cut and dry and pretty true to the word here. I don't think that he is going to be extending his run. I don't think that he's going to have one more match after what happens in December. I really think that when John Cena calls it quits, he's going to call it quits. I don't think that he's ever going to come back. Then again, in wrestling, never say never. But seeing how good the John Cena run has been getting, it was getting good throughout the heel stuff, and now it just feels like we're at the peak of it with babyface John Cena, and him having great matches and great promos, great storylines. It would be nice for the send-off to happen at WrestleMania, but I don't think that that's going to happen. I think John Cena's probably pretty darn dead set on it being December. I know people are gonna be annoyed that it wasn't Jay that took the pin, but clearly there's an angle that the WWE want to take with Becky in the Vision, and that all needed to start with Punk taking the pin. Excited to see what happens moving forward. So if you go back to my predictions video, I predicted Seth Rollins would win and that it would be by pinning CM Punk because of the addition of a new member of the Vision. That all came true exactly how I predicted it. And the reason for that is because I felt like LA Knight and Jey Uso are, they're kind of on thin ice when it comes to the main event. I feel like them taking pins at the moment does hurt them significantly more than it can hurt somebody like CM Punk, who's a made man who can eat pins left, right, and center, and it wouldn't impact his character if you ask me. Hell, WWE was so concerned about Jey Uso taking this loss, even if he wasn't the one getting pinned, that they did the whole "my ribs" thing. Oh no, please bandage up my ribs because we can't have our beautiful, wonderful baby faces losing a main event unless it's because of the ribs. It's always the ribs. Why can't it be some other injury? But it 100% made sense for CM Punk to take the pin here. CM Punk is the one that's going to be fighting until the end of time with Seth Rollins. So the continuation of the plot here between the Vision and the baby faces, it made a lot more sense for, the face of the faces right now, if you want to say that over on Monday Night Raw, CM Punk to be the victim of the new reveal with the Vision. And now that we know it's Becky Lynch, it makes even more sense that it should have been CM Punk taking the pin, because now that sets us up for AJ Lee. This match, in my opinion, was match of the night. Their chemistry was off the charts, sort of hoping that they would have done something with Wade over on commentary for a League of Nations angle, but maybe down the road, overall banger. You know what? I was hoping going into the match that there would be some sort of interaction between these two and Wade Barrett, but once the smoke settled from this awesome slobber knocker meat slapping fest, I'm glad that there was nothing to do with commentary, that it was just these two warriors fucking wanting to annihilate each other in a Donnybrook match. This match honestly woke up the PLE, because the crowd was basically having to carry the load for the PLE for the first three matches, because Roman and Bronson was okay. The overextended post-match segment, sure, that was fun, but it wasn't this crazy awesome thing. The women's match between Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella was not good at all. So it really was up to Sheamus and Rusev to liven up the crowd and bring us up into the second half of the show where things really got good. But it started with Sheamus and Rusev. Rusev. I love this match. I really love the fact that it had like different stages where like the first match was like the first portion was like the feeling out stage, some weapons, but like nothing like crazy in terms of spots. And then we got to the spot fest with like getting put through the siding of the bar, the crazy spot where they jumped off the barrels through the tables. And then we got into like the cinematic ending of just two warriors throwing their final haymakers at each other to see who was going to ultimately come out on top. I thought that this match was wonderful. I thought it was awesome. And I'm glad that it ended the way that it did, because it ended in a way where I just want more. So I'm with you. Give me another one. I felt like Nikki was either pushing past what she could handle physically or just felt lost during that match most of the time. Still a decent match though, but the flow was off for me. P.S. The botch kick looked like a miss move animation in 2K. Oh yeah, the miss springboard kick was maybe the funniest part of the entire night. I love that. I've replayed that like 50 times already. But listen, I'm not surprised that this wasn't a good match. I wasn't expecting it to be good. I think expecting this to be good is like expecting, and I said this in the review, for a 7-Eleven convenience store hot dog to be some sort of Michelin star meal. It's just not what you're gonna get. I should have been expecting this match to not been good from the onset though, like to be like really not good, because when you go back to the buildup of this on Monday Night Raw, their promos were really good, but their in-ring chemistry was just not good with one another. I don't know that I can blame Nikki specifically or Becky Lynch. I just don't think that they work well together at all. I saw that in the post-promo beatdowns and brawls that they had, and I clearly saw it here. Like I'm good seeing Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella never working again. It just didn't work. This piqued my interest. I'm not gonna lie. I'm curious to see where this goes. Yeah, I'm down for wherever it is that this is going. When they came out as the sponsored characters, I'm like, okay, they're not gonna do a heel turn, as the sponsored characters. There's no way. But I'm glad that they're at the very least already planting the seeds for a potential breakup between these two. Not only did they do it here, they also did it on the Go Home episode of Friday Night SmackDown with Bo Dallas going around questioning people's brotherhoods and whatnot. So yes, just like you, this has also piqued my interest. I am down for this. I don't know that I'm emotionally ready for a Street Profits breakup, but if it means the proper push of either Dawkins or Ford, who are both excellent workers, I am here for that. Right now, the SmackDown tag team division, I can't believe I'm saying this, is healthy enough if the Street Profits aren't there. Obviously, it's better with the Street Profits, but it can survive if they were to remove one of those pillars, the Street Profits, for them to do their own singles program, because the SmackDown tag team division is so all around healthy from top to bottom. So now, believe it or not, is the perfect time to explore a breakup for the Street Profits. It really is. I really hope WWE do more stage designs like this. When they actually put in effort to design stages, it adds so much more presentation to entrances and the PLE overall. Almost every entrance looked fantastic today, so really hoping that they can learn from this and do it more often. I feel like in 2025, we've gotten more PLE stages than not, right? Because we actually got a PLE stage for WrestleMania both nights. We got a PLE stage for Night of Champions. We got a PLE stage for SummerSlam. We got a PLE stage here for Clash in Paris. So I feel like maybe WWE is moving towards now creating more of a premium feel, especially with what we mentioned, them going over to ESPN. I really think that if they want to make an awesome impression with whatever new crowd they're hoping to entice to become forever WWE fans over on ESPN, the big presentation and obviously big matches, longer match cards, etc., is the way to do that. And a big stage, a nice, pretty stage, is a good visual way to demonstrate the premium feel of this, to really separate this from just the typical shows like Raws and SmackDowns. I'm glad that they let Cena get his win clean. As much as we want to see the story progress with Brock Lesnar for WrestlePalooza, in the short time that Cena has left, it was nice to see no shenanigans. You know what? I'm kind of with you. I really thought that we were going to be getting Brock Lesnar. Once they announced that the Fatal 4-Way was the main event, I kind of threw that out the window, that we were not going to be getting Brock Lesnar. So once this wasn't the main event, I was able to kind of let go of that, of like, when is Brock going to show up, and just enjoy the match for what it was. And what it was a really awesome match. I'm glad there were no shenanigans. I'm glad that Cena won clean. I'm glad Logan Paul did no shenanigans either. There was no cheating at all from Logan Paul, which that in itself was also a breath of fresh air. I'm with you here. Brock Lesnar can wait. Brock Lesnar is going to get his time in the light, but ultimately I'm glad that they didn't use Brock Lesnar to damage what was a really, really solid match on its own. Clash having only one women's match was so disappointing. They could have done Charlexa versus the Secret Harvest, Tiffy versus Jade, made, Julia versus Michin, and plus they cut Stephanie off. Yeah, I'm sure this was never their intention. Their intention was probably the Intercontinental Championship and, of course, the Stephanie Vaca match, but circumstances forced them to pivot, but I don't think that the Naomi pregnancy is enough of an excuse to keep a women's world championship match off of this card. Once they figured out Naomi was pregnant, they should have either accelerated something for Tiffany Stratton or, accelerated the vacate process so that we could have a new champion being crowned at Clash in Paris. This was definitely a situation where WWE just simply didn't want this match on Clash in Paris. They wanted a WrestlePalooza. But I agree with how deep the women's division is, with how many women's titles we have. There's no excuse for the only women's match at a PLE that had 6 matches for it to only be the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I'm with you there. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching this episode of Hot Takes. I'll see you guys in the next one. By the way, this airs after Monday Night Raw, so hopefully AJ Lee doesn't return on that episode, because otherwise a lot of these hot takes are just sort of moot and kind of ruins the video. Anyways, that's it. I'm done. Goodbye. Get out of here.